Hello drama lovers, welcome back to this channel. That day, the clouds hung low over the city. The sky looked melancholic, as if it could feel the anxiety wrapping around the hearts of two people waiting for a miracle in a hospital in central Beijing. It wasn't just any day. It wasn't a morning one could pass through calmly. Because in those quiet seconds, Xu Kai sat frozen in a long hallway, wrapped in a thin jacket, his face tense, his eyes unblinking, fixed on one tightly shut door. The delivery room, where Tan Songyun was fighting between life and the arrival of a new life. There were no cameras, no fans, no spotlight. What remained was Xu Kai, truly being Xu Kai. A man waiting for the birth of his first child, filled with fear and a love he couldn't begin to describe. His hands were clenched. His fingers trembled. He kept glancing at his phone screen, hoping for a message from inside, but nothing came. Time crawled. Each second carved deeper into his chest. Then came the sound of quick footsteps. A nurse stepped out and called his name. Xu Kai stood up, nearly losing his balance. He ran into the room, and there he saw Tan Songyun, exhausted, pale, but smiling. Their baby had been born. But that joy did not last long. The doctor entered, holding a folder. His eyes didn't show the usual warm expression that greeted the birth of a child. He stood at a distance, perhaps unsure, perhaps searching for the right words. But Xu Kai already knew something was wrong. Xu Kai, Songyun, the doctor said softly. His voice was low. There's something we need to discuss regarding your baby's condition. And at that moment, Xu Kai's world shifted. It was as if all sound disappeared. All he could hear was his own heartbeat. Tan Songyun looked at him with questions in her eyes, but also with calm. She was strong, stronger than he ever imagined. The doctor explained the rare medical condition discovered in their newborn. A minor genetic abnormality, not life-threatening, but one that required intensive care and regular monitoring throughout the child's development. It wasn't bad news, but it certainly wasn't ordinary. Xu Kai couldn't hold back his tears. Not the kind of tears he had prepared. These were unexpected, unstoppable. His sobs spilled freely, right in front of everyone. He was no longer the well-known actor who could control his expressions and emotions. In that moment, he was simply a father, whose heart was overwhelmed with fear about his child's future. His hands trembled as he reached out to touch the tiny, peaceful face. That baby was so small, so fragile, completely unaware that life had already tested them on their very first day. Tan Songyun took her husband's hand. She didn't cry. Instead, she smiled. A weak but steadfast smile. "It's okay," she whispered. "We have him. And we will protect him." Xu Kai nodded slowly. Their embrace lasted long. Deep. Not a single word was spoken after that, because they both knew love would be their greatest strength. This news was never meant to spread so fast. But in the world of celebrities, nothing stays private for long. A hospital staff member, intentionally or not, shared the information that Xu Kai and Tan Songyun's baby had been born with an unusual condition. Within moments, the internet exploded. Weibo was flooded with speculation. The hashtags #XuKaiCrying and #TanSongyunBabyCondition trended instantly. Netizens began asking, what really happened? Is the baby sick? Is it serious? Why did Xu Kai cry at the hospital? Several photos, taken secretly, started circulating. One of them showed Xu Kai cradling his newborn while crying beside Tan Songyun's hospital bed. The photo wasn't staged. There was no perfect lighting. No posing. Just a real moment of a father learning how to love in a new way. Public reactions were mixed. Many cried with them. Others were angry that such personal news had been leaked. But the most touching of all were the thousands of comments that poured in like a flood, offering support and prayers. "I'm not even a fan of theirs, but I cried reading this. I hope the baby is strong. I hope they get through this." Do you know why he cried? Because there's no greater love than a parent's fear for their child. If I were in Xu Kai's shoes, I'd cry too. That's not weakness. That's strength. Behind the scenes, Tan Songyun remained calm. She didn't make a statement right away. She chose silence. Maybe because her body was still too tired. Maybe because her heart was still too full. Or maybe because she simply wanted to spend every second with her baby, uninterrupted by the outside world. A few days later, Xu Kai finally posted a short video. Sitting on a wooden chair, with a simple nursery background. No makeup. No script. He spoke straight from the heart. "When I cried that day, it wasn't because I was weak, it was because I was scared. I've never felt that kind of fear before. But I've also never felt that kind of strength. Our child isn't a test. He's a blessing. The video spread like wildfire. Within one night, it had over 20 million views. Millions of likes. And for the first time, the world saw the most honest side of Shukai. Not the actor, not the star, but the father. Several fellow celebrities voiced their support. My knees went weak hearing this story, one close friend wrote. But my heart felt strong seeing how they held each other. And on the 5th day, the small family was finally allowed to go home. Under medical supervision, of course. But at least they could start their new life at home. A home filled with love. A home that might change in form, but never in heart. Shukai was seen carrying the baby in a front carrier, walking slowly out of the hospital while occasionally glancing at Tan Songyun beside him. They said nothing. Didn't acknowledge the cameras. Just walked. But in that silence, 1,000 meanings lived. They didn't need a stage to prove their love. Because real love doesn't always need the spotlight. In the world of entertainment, many pretend to look perfect. But that day, Shukai and Tan Songyun showed that honesty is far more touching than perfection. And perhaps, that's why their story reached millions of hearts. Because behind the glitz of celebrity, we are all the same, people who can fear, can cry, can lose our way, but also people who can love, who can protect, and who can believe. This story is far from over. Their baby's future is still a long road. The path they must take won't be easy. But one thing is certain, they are not walking alone. Because now, the world knows. And the world has chosen to stand with them. What about you? Did this story touch your heart the way it touched ours? Do you believe that love can be the strongest force, even in our deepest fears? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. Share your stories about family, about fear, about hope. Because sometimes, we just need to know that we're not alone. Don't forget to follow this channel, because we'll continue bringing you the latest updates about this story and others involving your favorite celebrities. We'll see you in the next episode.